This Saturday, UFC 311, Islam Makhachev is going to be defending his belt against Arman Sarukian, and Merab is defending his belt against Umar Nurmagomedov. Let's jump right into these predictions, shall we? Starting off with the prelims. I'm only going to be going over the most notable fights. So, let's start off with Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. Jailton Almeida is a fucking massive ass Brazilian jiu-jitsu master, alright? He's great at jiu-jitsu and he's so he imposes his will so well. He's very intense, he's aggressive as hell. Sergey Spivak is gonna have a lot of trouble, you know? I feel like he's a little bit too much of he's good, but he's a little bit of a fat heavyweight. Jailton Almeida is not like a fat heavyweight. He's like a monster heavyweight. And, Sergey Spivak's pretty good, but I think that Jailton Almeida is going to mow him down. So I'm taking Jailton Almeida. Submission in the first or second round, most likely. Next up, we got Peyton Talbot versus Raoni Barcelos. This is the easiest pick of the night. Taking Peyton Talbot. Raoni Barcelos is actually pretty good. This is kind of a step up for Peyton. But, the UFC still kind of wants to give Peyton Talbot a absolute can to crush. For the marketing purposes, they have to hype up their rising star, so they're going to give him easier fights. Anyways, Peyton Talbot's going to knock out Raoni Barcelos in the first round. Next up, Kevin Holland versus Rainier de Ridder. This is actually a pretty interesting fight because Kevin Holland kind of flip-flops from being good to being shit every fight. I actually thought he was going to beat Michael Venom Page, but then he got absolutely demolished by Michael Venom Page. He got danced on. And then I thought he was going to lose to Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, but then he actually pulled off an amazing submission. I really like Kevin Holland because he's such a wild card fighter. With that said, Rainier de Ridder has only faced one UFC opponent, and it was Gerald Meerschaert. Gerald Meerschaert's kind of the GOAT, but if we're being serious, it's not saying too much. Kevin Holland's definitely a big step up. I don't think Rainier de Ridder's got that dog in him like Kevin Holland does. Rainier de Ridder's a good fighter, but the problem is he just doesn't have that dog in him. Kevin Holland's got that dog in him, so I'm going to take Kevin Holland, probably by a finish, knockout, submission, whatever. I'll go ahead and say, for the sake of Kevin Holland, his grappling's gotten a lot better. I'm going to take submission in the second round. Next up, Renato Moicano versus Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush was doing really good a few years ago, but then he got knocked out in the first round by Dubronx and Arman, and then he took a few years off. Then you got Renato Moicano, who recently been doing really good. He KO'd Jalen Turner. He absolutely mauled Benoit Saint-Denis. These guys are both up there in age, so the age factor doesn't play too much in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Renato Moicano. Let's get this one done. Probably by a decision, honestly. I think Beneil Dariush has had time to heal that chin. But, I don't know. I kind of like Beneil Dariush. It's not out of this world for him to get it done, but Renato Moicano's doing amazing recently, so I'm going to go ahead and take Renato Moicano. Next up, in my opinion, probably the most interesting fight on the card, and this one could really go either way. Yuri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill. Yuri, the only guy in the UFC that Yuri Prochazka's lost to is Alex Pereira. And other than that, he's got some really impressive wins against Rakic, Jamal Hill, he got the good win over Glover Teixeira. Yuri also beat Glover Teixeira, I forgot to say. But Jamal Hill, his most impressive win was definitely Glover Teixeira. Other than that, we haven't really seen a ton that really impresses me from Jamal Hill, if I'm being completely honest. I'm not really impressed by him. His striking, like the way he strikes, he's kind of open to getting hit with big shots, which is obviously what Alex capitalized on. And my exact prediction for this fight, what I think is going to happen. I think Jamal Hill is going to be touching up Yuri in the first round, and then in the second round, Yuri's going to use his magical samurai wizard powers, and he's going to lock in and then finish Jamal Hill in the second round. So there's your pick. Yuri Prochazka, round 2 knockout. That's what I'm taking. Then we've got Merab versus Umar. People are very quick to count out Merab on this one. I'm actually very surprised to see that the odds are -300 in favor of Umar. Considering the only like real good high-level UFC competition he's faced is Sandhagen. He's faced Begsat, and he fought Barcelos, the dude that Peyton Talbot's about to fight. Other than that, I mean, he hasn't really faced any super good guys. Merab, his last 4 fights were O'Malley, Cejudo, Piotr Jan, and Jose Aldo. He beat all of them. That is extremely impressive. And people are saying, you know, Umar's got the size advantage. You know, he's going to piece him up in the striking. But I disagree, because Merab just beat O'Malley, who's probably the best striker in the division, if not Jan. And O'Malley is super tall and wiry for the bantamweight division. So I think this fight's not going to be super, like, crazy. I think that Merab's definitely going to be aggressive and push the pace, but it's not going to be an absolute slugfest. Umar, I mean, I think Umar's going to put up a good fight. I think it's going to be close. I think it's very possible that Umar gets it done. It's very possible. But I don't know. I got to take Merab. He's been looking consistently amazing in all of his last fights. And I think it's going to be a pretty close fight. I think, honestly, my prediction is that Merab's going to get the decision, but then it's going to be slightly controversial, you know, and then some people are going to say that Umar got robbed. You know, that happens with a lot of title fights. And finally, we've got the main event, Islam versus Arman. I'm going to go ahead and take Islam by decision. I think it's going to be pretty close, just like Merab versus Umar. I think it's going to be pretty close. Not as close, though. Islam's going to make a clear, probably 4-round victory. I mean, Arman is definitely going to put up a great fight. I think this fight's going to be super fun to watch. You know, this is probably going to be considered fight of the year until we get some more bangers later. But until then, this fight is probably going to be an absolute slugfest. I bet both of these guys are going to get cut up. But I'm going to have to take Islam, honestly. I just think Islam is honestly probably the best fighter in the world right now. I don't think that there's an argument for anyone else. Maybe Ilia Topuria, but I'm still going to say Islam. I mean, Arman, if it wasn't for Islam, Arman would definitely be the champ, and he would already have a very solid title reign. But I don't know. I don't think he can beat Islam. I mean, Islam already beat him. Anyways, there's all the picks. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick recap, and then I'll also throw in some of the early prelims. So, Islam Makhachev, Merab, Yuri, Renato Moicano, Kevin Holland, Talbot, Jailton Almeida, Elikana, I'm going to take Elikana, Grant Dawson, Zachary Reese, I'm going to take Eileen Perez, she's looked really good recently, Rinya Nakamura, definitely going to win, Bernato Sopaj, probably going to win, and then Tagir Ulanbekov, look at this guy. That is the most, like, Dagestani inbred face I've ever seen. Sorry, Clayton Carpenter. I'm sure he's a nice fellow, but Tagir Ulanbekov is going to maul this guy and get a submission in the first round. And there you have it. There's my UFC 311 predictions. All we got to do now is stay tuned for Saturday to see what happens. Umar could get it done. Arman could get it done. But I'm going to have to take Islam and Merab for the main events. And I know these fights are probably going to be pretty good. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens, though. Anyways, stay tuned for more MMA picks in the future and other content. I'm going to start making some tier lists, things of that nature. So stay tuned for that, and peace out.